Ladies and gentlemen, it is week 11. We have had some technical difficulties, so we apologize. But we are here. We did make it. We got out of bed this morning. Maybe some of us kind of. Kevin Tompkins here, Mr. Gary Haddow, Ms. Britt Flinn. How we doing on this week 11 Thanksgiving Eve?
I'm so good. I love it. I'm already. How many Eves is it again?
Too many.
All the Eves.
I'm just already breaking out the stretchy pants in preparation, you know?
I've been doing that for like the last 15 years. So.
This has been COVID.
Thank God for sweatpants. Yeah, so we are a little bit late, so we'll get right into it here with our week 11 stuff. Where have all the superstars gone? Because we are missing a ton of them and potentially even more. We'll start with Lamar Jackson, who, by all reports, it's likely to be Tyler Huntley today at quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. It stinks if you have their pass catchers. They're going to Chicago. Your Andrews, your Batemans. It won't be your Marquise Browns because Marquise Brown is out as well with a thigh injury. So, what are we doing? We're scaling back clearly the Ravens pass catchers, but are they down to toss-up options? Or I'm still starting Andrews in a couple places. I'm not taking him out of my lineup, but you got to downgrade these guys.
Agreed. I'm downgrading everybody that's not named Andrews, and I'm pretty sure that Latavius Murray is playing, so that even knocks Devonta Freeman down another peg. So it's not looking good. But Tyler Huntley, I don't know, man. He's if you're in a pinch, the dude's got wheels. He is just a poor man's version of Lamar. So I can still see him putting up fantasy numbers. It won't be pretty, but it's gonna probably be Jalen Hurts-esque. Which is probably a weird thing to say considering how well Hurts has been for fantasy, but you get what I mean. So it's Andrews, and that's it. I really was hoping that this was Marquise is out. Let's go with Sammy Watkins, maybe that one game a year, but I don't know. I don't know what the hell to do.
Yeah, the sleeper notification that came out, he made the trip and he's going to try to warm up. But if you're talking about trying to keep him hydrated enough, dude's sick. I don't think he's going to play. I was so excited about Bateman's breakout game, even though it's been debated that he broke out already. But yeah, I think this is going to be like a 10-6 game, something super gross that we're not going to see a lot of points in. So if it's not Andrews, I'm not playing him.
Right. And go ahead.
Well, so I have a question then, because I posed this in the private chat in here. If Lamar starts, do you just say, nope, we got to do it? The upside's too high? Because if you are trying to warm up and trying to stay hydrated, how quickly do you get? Luckily, Khalil Mack's out, but Roquan Smith, you get a sack from that dude, all of a sudden the wind's knocked out of you. You're not recovering from that, and you could be out by the end of the first quarter because you just can't even keep up, and you realize that your stamina is not there.
Yeah, I'm pretty worried about starting him anyway, which he is my quarterback in one of our co-managed leagues that we do, and there's just absolute trash out on the waiver wire. So I'm going to have to deal with that after the show because I can't put him in even if he does start.
Imagine, however many years ago it was, 25 or so, if we sat Michael Jordan in his flu game. Twitter would be all just crazy. How could you sit Michael Jordan? Not saying he's Michael Jordan, but he has a Jordan-esque kind of value, especially when fully healthy for fantasy managers. So if he plays, it's tough because there's a couple bye weeks, but it doesn't really affect anybody except if you have Matthew Stafford. But with all these quarterbacks that are banged up, I still want at least 75% of Lamar versus a lot of quarterbacks. The Bears can't really defend the pass that well. Their secondary is pretty garbage. So, all it takes is just some volume, to Andrews or, to Watkins or Duvernay or wherever the case, or, Duvernay's hurt too. So it could be a James Proche game for all we know. But yeah, I mean, I'm still going to start Lamar in some spots. If I have a decent option, I will. But yeah, you got to downgrade Bateman probably down to a low end flex. Andrews, I think just because tight end is so gross, you have to start him because I still think even if Huntley is in there, that's going to be his target more than likely. Obviously we're fading pretty much every running back. I said Freeman is a low end flex too, but I mean, Lamar has just far reaching, it knocks everybody and not even just the passing game.
The
Which is
dominoes are falling.
pretty much. It is what it is, but God, that over under 45 is going to get knocked down considerably. We'll have inactives out in about 20 to 25 minutes here, so we'll definitely get into those. Another quarterback that we've had issues with, Kyler Murray, looking increasingly like it's going to be Colt McCoy again for the Arizona Cardinals in Seattle. My Scott Fishbowl team is reeling after the fact I have to probably start Colt McCoy for a third consecutive week. Not great, Bob. Other than that, Alvin Kamara out, Aaron Jones out. Again, like we said, Marquise Brown out. It is just superstar Trisha. Amari Cooper with COVID out. DeAndre Hopkins out, hamstring. It's just Elijah Mitchell, doubtful, but it's more likely going to be Jeff Wilson. So we're going to have a lot of guys in here, making, their first, second starts, veterans that have been there. Jeff Wilson gets a start. Mark Ingram gets a start. Between these two running backs, Mark Ingram and Jeff Wilson, who are you guys prioritizing out of these two specific running backs today?
I can personally answer this because I traded for Mark Ingram and Jeff Wilson, and I will tell you I traded for Ingram first. That was also last night. It seemed like I'd at least hedge the bet in case Mitchell plays. But also the Saints rushing offensive line, whatever, it's awesome. They were a really good offensive line. So I figured that with Simeon there, they know they trust Ingram. They're going to go there. Whereas I don't really see, Tony Jones, I guess, is back. It just activated off IR. Whereas with Wilson, you're still going to have some Trey Sermon, whatever that means, but you're going to have some Kyle Juszczyk. So I love them both. I think they're both top 20 this week. But Ingram just gets a little extra knock just because he knows, I don't know, just because he's a giant bowling ball.
I'm the opposite on that. I've got Wilson just a tick ahead of Ingram just because of the matchup, because they're playing Jacksonville. Oh, it's tough, though.
Yeah, Ryan Ramczyk and Teron Armstead are both out as well for the Saints. So that's tough. I have Wilson as a top 7 play today against Jacksonville. Whenever Jeff Wilson has gotten in there, he's been a stud. He's been awesome. And with Mitchell out, with Sermon being on the milk carton pretty much the entire season, I think this is just going to be a Wilson smash spot. We see this in like week 16. Historically from Wilson, where it's been Jeff Wilson just comes in and saves the day in the fantasy playoffs. But yeah, Thanksgiving, Christmas has come early this year. If you have Jeff Wilson, I am starting him anywhere I have him because I think he's just a lock button. They're playing Jacksonville. Not saying that they're a run funnel, but they're a run funnel. So start Jacksonville all the time, or start anybody running the ball against Jacksonville.
Let's do it.
Let us do it. Some other questionable tags here. James Robinson with a heel and a knee injury. Expected to play per Adam Schefter. So, like I said, about 20 minutes, we will look into that and make sure James Robinson is good for your fantasy rosters. Saquon Barkley is playing on Monday, but it's looking like he's going to get a start. He's finally going to be back after that ankle injury. Devonta Booker with a hip injury is also questionable with a hip injury. This Giants offense is just absolutely, it's almost like stay away. Just with so many options, people getting hurt. Sterling Shepard's out as well. So, I mean, if Saquon Barkley starts this game against Tampa Bay, are you guys starting Saquon Barkley?
I mean, it depends on who all you have on your roster. I hope that you've made some different pickups because he's been out. Side note, the Giants have completely mismanaged his injury and should have put him on IR to begin with, but that's a whole other topic. But Tampa is just so good against the run, and Saquon probably has a little bit of rust coming back. And yeah, if I don't have another option, I'll put him in, but it's ugly.
We already know how bad Saquon is. I mean, I think he has like one of the biggest like gaps between like his like negative and 1 yard runs and the volume of those compared to like his like 60, 80 yard runs. And so I'm looking at him as an RB3. Put him in like if he's starting, it's going to be difficult to bench him considering all the other injuries, bye weeks, whatever it is. But just have lower expectations. At minimum, he's going to get some dump offs and whatnot.
Right. That's pretty much what you're hoping for, is that he can just make up for what he probably won't get on the ground with receiving work. He's just got to earn trust. And it's really hard to trust the Giants offense right now. So, I mean, that's going to fall down to Barkley too. Not really feeling him unless, like I said, you've had how many weeks now to prepare for to have life without Barkley. So you should at least have a couple options there, and maybe they're more attractive right now than Barkley. I mean, maybe you have, as kind of gross as it is, you had that Ingram or you had that Darrell Williams or whatever the case is. So, like I said, he has to earn trust, especially for fantasy managers, not just in his own offense, because I still think he has that. I think he's going to still get opportunity, especially if Booker is out. Also, if for some reason Barkley and Booker aren't there, I like, probably both guys are moderately viable. Gary Brightwell and Elijah Penny. It's likely a split between those two. But if you just need carries and someone to hopefully fall into the end zone, those guys are going to get opportunity, especially if Barkley and Booker are both out.
For some reason, I thought Elijah Penny was on injured reserve, but I guess I'm wrong. I don't know why I thought that. All right.
That would be Rashad Penny, who is on the perpetual IR. No, he's not. He's not either. But it just always feels like
you're gonna freak people out. I'm sure there's people starting Rashad Penny this week.
And for those people, I just like to say one thing. Oh, I don't have it on here. I was going to do the stop it, get some help, the Michael Jordan thing. But it's not on this one. You guys are lucky. You guys,
I was just thinking about if I could throw those in here, and I was like, maybe, but I don't want to throw Kevin off.
I will do that next week.
Okay.
So, yeah, other than that, Antonio Brown out with an ankle injury. Both Washington tight ends, Logan Thomas and Ricky Seals-Jones, are both very doubtful. Logan Thomas wasn't activated on IR. Ricky Seals-Jones is dealing with the hip. John Bates, if you're into that sort of thing.
Season.
John Bates season might be here, but don't expect a lot from him. Though I say that, and the dude's going to run 80% of routes and score 2 touchdowns because fantasy football. Yeah. So other than that, I think we pretty much hit on everything that was at least relevant here. So other than that, weather-wise, some rain, especially on the East Coast, Houston, Tennessee. It's got some rain, 80% chance of rain, steady wind. The wind shouldn't be a factor, but driving rain is not great. Indy at Buffalo has that as well. And then Detroit at Cleveland. Just watch out for some of those passing games there with Josh Allen, Ryan Tannehill, and if you're desperate enough, Baker Mayfield. After that, let's get into some questions, shall we? I know we've had some people waiting, so let's get into the first one here. Bateman or Galladay for wide receiver 4?
We should say it's sounding like Lamar is actually going to be out, per Josina Anderson. She said she's being told that Lamar is not doing well enough to play, per league source. So,
Oof.
Okay.
So let's assume it's Huntley. I actually don't mind Galladay solely because the way you attack the Bucks is their passing game. I just don't know if I trust Huntley enough. I don't know. I think I'm going to go with Galladay. I mean, I think that they're pretty close. If Lamar was in, I'd go with Bateman, but in this case, I'm going to go with Huntley or with Galladay.
Yeah, it's that's so rough. Thoughts and prayers for sure. Yeah, you got to go Galladay, I guess. But like I said, I think that game's going to be like a 10-6 final stat line in the Chicago Ravens game. I don't think anybody's getting anything out of it fantasy wise.
Yeah, T's and P's for Lamar Jackson. Got as much as I've been off the Kenny Galladay train for the last 12 months, pretty much. It seems like when he was hurt in Detroit and said he'd never play for them again. Kenny Galladay, bite the bullet. Got to go with him today.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if just Bateman, the Tyler Huntley just goes off or something like that. Just something that we can't explain happens with that whole thing. Would not be surprised.
Mike White style game.
There's only one Mike White.
Yeah, there can be only one.
And he is terrible. Antonio Gibson, Barkley, or Ingram in PPR?
Gotta go Gibson, I guess, but that's tough though, because Carolina's run defense is pretty good.
It's official. Lamar's out.
Oh God, this day is just full of grossness. I'm like in the back of my mind thinking, okay, which of the scrubs am I going to pick up to replace him now? Like, damn it. Man, it's between Ingram and Gibson for me, but okay, I'm switching it up. I'm going Ingram.
Same. Give me Mark Ingram. He's my RB14 today. Just who else? I mean, this is returning Tony Jones taking that work behind him. I mean, it's kind of gross. It might be Dwayne Washington for all we know, but I mean, give me Mark Ingram and at least in a halfway decent matchup at Philly.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Jeff Wilson or James Robinson? I profess my love for Jeff Wilson already, so I'll just make this easy for me. It's Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, and coming off a heel injury, he was still kind of questionable even until leading into this morning. Whenever that happens, the probability of re-aggravating a heel injury and then coming out is just so great that I don't really want to pin all of my hopes on that. So I'm going Wilson as well.
Gary, you're muted.
Thank you. They're super close. It's really, it wasn't for the heel injury, just specifically the heel, it would be Robinson for me, but I guess I'm going Wilson, but man, they're so close.
I mean, you're hoping for receiving work out of Robinson to kind of make his the rest of his day. I probably could see San Francisco winning by like 10 to 13 points and Robinson just kind of being out there to soak up a little garbage time work, a little GTW. So I think Jeff Wilson's I think he's got on tap for like 120 yards and a touchdown. I can visualize that. It just seems like whenever Wilson is in there, and it doesn't have competition, especially if Mitchell's out. I mean, who else are you really expecting to take work there? The only other running back, and he's not even a running back, that could take a little work is Deebo Samuel.
Which is crazy how they used him as a runner last week. Like, I love it. I'm such a Deebo fan. So, yeah. We won't get off on that tangent.
Alpha Deebo season is here to stay. I don't care if George Kittle's there. Let's see. PPR, Mike Williams or Manny Sanders. A couple of recently disappointing wide receivers here.
They want to go with Sanders.
I'm going to go Williams just because of the rain and wind in Buffalo.
I'm going to go Williams. I know he's banged up and, the whole rage in the NFL is the two cover two deep, the shell that people that defenses are playing, and that he could be. I think he could be a victim of that. He was running a shorter ADOT versus years past, but it seems like it's been Keenan Allen certainly in the last 2 to 3 weeks, just soaking up targets, and Keenan Allen, the one we've been waiting for like the first 5-6 weeks of the season. So I still have hope for Mike Williams. His good performances, at least in the last month or so, seem a lot more sporadic, but I think he can get back on that horse this week.
And Pittsburgh's defense hasn't been like the greatest either. So I think if there ever, if there was a get right game for Williams, I think this might be it.
Yep. All right. Let's take a look here. Lamar is out, which he is. Bears defense at home or 49ers D on the road at Jacksonville from Adam. I still think this isn't, I don't know if he can get cute with the Bears. I think you still got to take the 49ers.
Yeah. It's so tough, but yeah, I'm like, this is just scrambled eggs in my brain right now thinking about this, but yeah, you've got to go San Francisco. Like Trevor Lawrence, you know that you're going to get some sacks against him. You know, you're probably going to get an interception or two against him. Yeah. Oof. That's close though. Closer than I'd like it to be honest.
Yep. Gary? Okay.
Sorry. I'm looking at all the inactives that are coming out. I apologize.
Yeah. There's a couple.
To see if there's anything new.
Yeah, a couple that filtered in. Donovan Peoples-Jones is inactive today for the Browns. So if you have him, certainly get him out of your lineup. Also, an interesting note for the Titans, Jeremy McNichols is inactive between Deonta Foreman and Adrian Peterson. Foreman's usage has increased in the last couple weeks. He certainly played a lot more than people expected against the Rams, and then played a lot more last week. So I like Deonta Foreman as kind of a sneaky, RB2 today. I think he gets even more work. And apparently the name change is official for Jack Rabbit Jenkins. That's how he was listed in the Titans inactive. So congratulations to the former Janoris Jenkins for changing his name and now becoming likely a meme.
Can you just imagine like going on a date with somebody and they're like, imagine a Tinder date and they're like, hey, what's your name? Jack Rabbit. Like that would be an
on Tinder.
Immediate red flag though.
At least he has the out where he can call himself Jack.
True.
And nobody will ever think of anything, but then like that inevitability of, hey, can I see your license? And yeah.
Getting pulled over, Mr. Rabbit.
Mr. Rabbit.
8 mile reference.
T. Higgins, Bateman, Swift, or Darrell Williams. Pick 2. Standard have Swift and Higgins in. I'd say that's probably keep those in. I think Bateman we talked about already. Darrell Williams, I think, with CEH back for all intents and purposes. I think he still gets involved, but you can't start him as an RB2 today, even in what we hope is going to be a fantastic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys. But all the other matchups that we were hoping would be great matchups have turned to crap, especially Chiefs Packers. So yeah, still Swift and Higgins for me.
Yeah, it is for me as well. And I have to shout out my dad real quick. I wore this sweater last week and we beat down the Falcons. So my dad said I have to wear it every week from now on. So fingers crossed that wearing the sweater is going to be a really good matchup today.
I'm going Swift and Bro. Just want to say that. CH, I don't even know how much play he's going to get. Higgins is really highly ranked. I'm not too sure why. If he doesn't get a touchdown, he's not going to be a top 20 wide receiver. So, and he hasn't gotten one in a bit. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in saying that, but I think I would rather have the upside of what Darrell can do in a shootout game and being really heavily used in the passing attack and whatnot. But I will say I'm starting Higgins in various other places because the rankings that I see on Fantasy Pros and everywhere are just so high that I feel like I'm going to miss the boat if I don't start him.
See, I'm on the other side with T. Higgins. Jamar Chase has been the focal point of the defense, who's posted his worst 2 yardage performances against the Jets and Browns. So in a matchup in Las Vegas that I think can certainly be exploited in the passing game, they just released their top corner due to off-field stuff. So right now, I think this is a game that could be a shootout, absolutely, between Cincinnati and Las Vegas in the late window. What's that?
I said, no, that makes sense. I kind of forgot about their cornerback woes. Idiots.
Yeah, I just think and it was something I was saying a few weeks ago too, and I think it's starting to ring true, just we haven't seen the production out of it because Higgins hasn't scored in the last 5 weeks. But defenses are learning how to navigate Jamar Chase now, so it's got to trickle down to somebody, and all season it hasn't trickled down to Tyler Boyd. So I think it could trickle down to Mixon as well, who's certainly increased his receiving prowess in the last 3 out of the last 4 games. I think he has 5 catches or higher. So I think it's Mixon, Higgins. I think Boyd still is on the cusp of being rosterable right now, but it's kind of dicey for him. But I still like Higgins, and I think he has every shot of being a top 16 wide receiver today.
And Higgins is getting, he hasn't found the end zone, but he's getting so many targets. It's just a matter of time. And I think if there ever was a time that it's today.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
He's just too good not to.
It's regression. Regression is it's gonna find its way to Higgins because he hasn't gotten the end zone. But in his last 3 games, we're looking at 29 targets in the last 3 games. That's all. I mean, that's basically 10 targets a game. So
yeah,
with that, good things are gonna happen. It's just he's got to get on the right side of variance.
All right.
IDP for Britt here. Roquan Smith or Micah Parsons for IDP.
I'm always gonna go Parsons. Parsons is so top today. He's made his way up. He's had several sacks over the last couple games. He forced a fumble last week. I mean, the kid just plays in every single position that you can want, and he gets after that ball. I'm always going to say Parsons until he proves me otherwise.
I'm totally going Rowe here. I'm going Roquan.
I have no dog in this fight except for the dog that is Micah Parsons in my IDP lineup, the one IDP league that I'm in. So not financial advice, not IDP advice. Give me Roquan. Got that. Wow, give me Micah Parsons. I'm playing both sides of the fence here.
Devil's advocate.
Exactly. So a couple more inactives here. They are out. Allen Robinson is out for the Chicago Bears. So if you have him on your roster, if you're just holding on for dear life, you could probably go ahead and at least get him out of your lineup. Other than that, Anthony Schwartz, Browns are going to have an issue passing the ball. I mean, right now it's Landry and the tight end
Higgins.
We're gonna bring back Hollywood Higgins again.
Yeah,
want to have an encore of that from last season. I mean, that's pretty much where we're at. Jared Goff expected to be out, is out. So former Packers backup quarterback Tim Boyle gets his first NFL start today. So good luck with that, my man.
I wanted to jump back to the Browns real quick. So for anybody that picked up D'Ernest last week, started him, he was great. Baker is still banged up. I mean, he's playing, but it was we weren't even sure if he was going to play. This is going to be a Chubb game, but they're playing against Detroit. I think D'Ernest is going to get a lot of run in very much a Kareem Hunt role, as if they just were going to take the ball out of Baker's hands and just go ham on the ground. So if you have D'Ernest and you're looking for somebody to start, 100% do it. I mean, I think he's a low-end RB2.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree completely with that.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. He could definitely get some. I think he has a little more value than just a straight backup. I would say enjoy it for the next week or so because Kareem Hunt is getting a lot closer to coming back for the Browns. So that could be something to look for too if they activate his IR window. And we know what goes with that. Watching players try to come back in that 3-week span. So. Dearness Johnson, I think, is a low end. I don't know about low end, a high end RB3 today. Certainly worth a flex if you're kind of desperate and you have him and weren't really expecting to get any utility out of him. You could probably start him and at least get some points. I don't see why he wouldn't be a factor if the Browns just run a train on the Detroit Lions. Barkley or Jeff Wilson have PPR.
I know your answer is going to be Wilson.
It's Wilson. I don't have a Wilson.
to be.
I don't have the Wilson. Yeah.
The clip.
I
Yeah.
think we're all going to say Wilson.
Yeah, I need to see how rusty Saquon is, and this matchup is not good.
Yeah, it's Wilson with the bullet. Like I said, we talked about Barkley. We talked about Wilson. Just Wilson's on one today. I can feel it.
Hope so.
Oh, yeah, me too. Tua, Jimmy G, Newton, or Tyrod?
I love Tua today. I really do. Against the Jets. Like the Jets early on in the season were really good against the pass, but the past 4 games, they've allowed the second most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. I mean, they've crumbled. Whatever little facade that they had built up is gone. And Tua is going to destroy today.
Yep, I have it in that exact order. Tua, Jimmy, Cam, Tyrod. So I'm going to go Tua too.
Give me Cam Newton.
Ooh, spicy.
It is a little spicy. I think I want DJ Moore to happen. I'm sorry. If that makes me selfish, I don't know. I'm still a little worried with Tua and his broken finger. Though he's been practicing in full. So it's just a matter of managing it. But I mean, and Jimmy G has been pretty good. I just don't know how much they need to pass today. I don't know if a ceiling game is in the future for Jimmy G. So give me Cam Newton, where I think he could at least do a little something through the air, grab a touchdown on the ground, or 3 touchdowns combined, 1 on the ground, 2 in the air, a decent amount of yards, propels him in the top 12 against Washington, who's clearly reeling. Carolina's at home. It's going to be a fun atmosphere. He wants the crowd back. He wants to get those Panthers fans back at Bank of America Stadium. I think there's a lot right for the Panthers that it's getting right. It's a low over-under game, but I still think Cam Newton is going to be the reason why. So I think Cam's still got something left in the tank. I'm going to go with him today.
I just worry about Cam because there's still been some talk of them like using PJ Walker, mixing and matching him in. And I'm just the messenger.
I know.
But that's the only reason that I'm just a little hesitant on Cam. But I just had to throw that in there and destroy your DJ Moore hopes and dreams, I guess.
It's not what we're about here. It's a family show.
No, I love Cam.
Till I said run a train.
And then everything went to hell.
And that's the point where we got canceled. Daryl, PPR flex, Barkley, Gibson, Pittman, Claypool, or Lockett. So we're picking one out of this group. I think it's going to have to be Lockett.
I think you're right.
It's Gibson or Lockett.
Gibson was in consideration for me too, but I'm just with Lockett with Russ back in a game they need to have at home against a Cardinals team which is reeling, possibly a backup quarterback.
Well, and Russ was definitely I'm not making a pun. I swear to God. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. But I think that that's going to be gone this week. He's going to have logged a full week of practice. And plus, DK got ejected in the last game. So that allowed all the defensive backs to just kind of take down Lockett. They didn't have to worry about that dual threat. So Lockett should get right. But I'm always hesitant to go with what should happen in a divisional game, because it seems like the divisional games just always get turned upside down.
Or like when the Packers play the Seahawks and it's supposed to be like the highest over under and it turns out to be the worst game of the week.
It was terrible. It was awful.
Garbage.
Green Bay just absolutely broke DK Metcalf, though.
Oh, mentally for sure.
Like, imagine if they had Jair Alexander. Like, DK would have ran off the field crying.
Right.
I think so too. It was really, I don't know, just that lack of composure and just the emotion that came out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were talking about his mama or what.
Who knows? Gallup, Agnew, or Bateman.
It's a good one.
I kind of want to go Gallup here just because of that Chiefs-Cowboys matchup. But I can't exactly shake Jamal Agnew either.
Can't quit you.
I can't. I get to toss up between those two. And I'm going to make my decision after you guys say your piece.
Come on, Homer.
Gary,
no, go Homer.
No, you go, because I've got...
It's Gallup. I just want the highest over under. I everything Kevin said, I feel the same way about. I have Agnew started where I can or where I need to, and I have Gallup started where pretty much anywhere I have him also, because I think he's going to do well. My only concern about Gallup is that I think Ced Wilson is going to get a lot of play there, and he's going to be in the slot. But Gallup, I actually think that Gallup is looking at like a 680 and a touchdown type game.
Yep. That's Gary stole my thunder. That's exactly what I was going to bring up about Cedric Wilson.
You go first.
So, well, I wanted you to say your piece. The way that you attack Kansas City is out of the slot with Cooper out. Lamb's going to move to the outside. In comes Cedric Wilson. It's also it was his birthday yesterday, so it's a birthday weekend touchdown. So I'm just going to throw that out there. I think that he vultures a touchdown or two from Lamb and Gallup. Spicy take.
We love the birthday narrative around here. Lots of narratives thrown around. Yeah, give me Gallup. With Cooper out, it's likely Gallup plays about 85 to 90% of the routes. So that's what you want. We saw just a big downturn in routes last week with the Cowboys. Lamb only played 44% of the snaps and 58% of the routes, but still scored 2 touchdowns. So I don't think you're going to see that, especially with them a man down. Wilson's going to factor in certainly and probably run about 55 to 60% of the routes, but you're looking at a clear route share between Gallup and Lamb that should be in the 85 to 90%. So give me Gallup here. Agnew is probably going to be, he's pretty much been their wide receiver 2 the last 4 or 5 weeks. It hasn't been Shenault. It really has been Marvin Jones. By the way, Marvin Jones, I would say, is probably somebody to keep on your roster and to start in the next few weeks. He hasn't had those blow up games, but we know they come, he usually a couple game where he has 2 touchdowns or just absolutely blows up. I feel like those are coming for Marvin Jones eventually. It's just the way Marvin Jones operates. But there's my tangent for the day. Bateman or Deontay Foreman for flex in PPR. I think it's Foreman for me today. Tennessee at home against Houston. That should be a game where they get out and just boat race.
Yeah, Agreed. It's going to be a slaughter. And with McNichols out too. I mean, come on.
That's true. Can't spell slaughter without laughter.
Damn it.
I love it.
And there's nothing funny about what the Titans are going to do to Houston. So, yeah. Waddle, Landry, Elijah Moore, or Higgins. Pick one. I think I'm still going to be on Higgins above all these other options just for, like I said, I think regression is coming for him. The targets are there. The involvement in the offense is there. It's just a matter of him producing. And I think in the potential shootout here, 50.5 points, which I think should be a lot higher. If I were a betting man and it were legal in North Dakota, I'd be taking the over all day on that. Yeah, give me T. Higgs.
Agreed.
Yeah, I really want to go Waddle, but I feel that the game script is just going to get out of hand and it's going to be a big Gaskins game. And yeah, I got to go Higgins.
Yeah. Though I do like Elijah Moore. I think Flacco changes. Flacco will start today, by the way, for the Jets. I think Flacco doesn't really change a lot for how they've operated. Flacco tends to target the running backs as well, and he tends to target tight ends a lot. Granted, they don't have a lot in tight ends, but Ryan Griffin isn't too bad of an option, I think, today, especially with Flacco's history with tight ends. I mean, the dude made Dennis Pitta viable, so can certainly make Ryan Griffin at least moderately relevant.
Possibly.
Possibly.
There was a Twitter poll, and it was like, who's Flacco going to throw the ball to? Davis, Crowder, Moore, and then the final option was to the ground. And I about died over that.
If by the ground you mean Ty Johnson, then yes, the ground. By the way. Ingram, Jeff Wilson, Deontay Foreman, pick one. Doesn't change anything for me. It's Jeff Wilson.
Yep. Jeff Wilson. Wilson.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. What the hell? Lamb? I'm assuming this is DFS.
I imagine. Yeah.
Lamb, Jefferson, AJ Brown, Chase. Pick one.
CD all day.
Yeah, it's got to be CD Lamb, I think. Although, if we're talking ownership, rostership, AJ Brown could be lower owned.
Agreed.
Because he had such a terrible game last week. Like, it was just
and then
awful.
if you're projecting that low over under too, that could push him to sub 10%. I think if in that context, if that's what you're looking for in a wide receiver versus just a raw output, I would go AJ Brown here. But in a vacuum, it's Lamb. As far as like who is going to produce the most.
I think Chase is the highest ceiling.
Oh, actually, I do too. I absolutely do too. I think Chase can just blow up today. Lamb is going to be like 30 to 35% in this matchup. I mean, there's going to be a lot of Cowboys stacks today. I mean, that game is just going to be, and I think I'm going to play a Raiders stack actually.
Yeah.
Honestly, like all the games in the late window, I think that Arizona and Seattle game is going to be higher than the over-under says too. I could possibly have a heart attack during the late slate, just to let everybody know.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, I really like a Carr, Renfro, Waller with a Chase bring back. I really like that. Just not financial advice. Let's see here. Cousins, Newton, Jimmy G, or start Rodgers even with a toe injury. We actually just talked about this a little while ago.
The decision I have to make is Rodgers versus Cousins, and I think we both have each of them above Newton or Jimmy G.
I do.
Rodgers.
I would go Rodgers too. I mean, he played with a toe injury last week. He was on Pat McAfee saying, when they asked him about his toe, that it's nothing to worry about. They're joking about how it actually happened, and Rodgers wouldn't tell him.
He heard it doing that yoga in his apartment during quarantine.
He actually came out and said that because he did.
No.
Yeah, there's no chance he was quarantining.
No, but he said that's what he said that he was doing was like during his quarantine period was like some kind of yoga and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, that's the only way he could have heard it, right?
It was during quarantine when I was at the yoga studio.
Yeah. Then I went to the movie theater, and then I went to. Yeah. Anyway, I would still start Rodgers.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Let's see. Joe Lopez, Dawson Knox, or Zach Ertz.
I want you guys to answer this first.
I'm not trying to rhyme, but it hurts Ertz with Colt McCoy, I think. But I'm a little worried with I wasn't trying to.
Benefit, I mean.
No, but with Knox and the rain and the wind, I don't know if that's a much better option. Kevin, what do you think?
I'm going to lean Knox here. I don't feel great about it because coming back into that offense, he didn't get the same kind of opportunity that he got before he broke his hand. He was running about 78% of the routes, but just was not as involved. And that's just because they got Diggs involved early and often, and the dude was a wide receiver too, overall last week. So hopefully it's let's get Diggs involved, and the secondary pass catchers are the secondary pass catchers. It seemed like the Bills' offense was revolving a lot around those secondary pass catchers. Beginning of the season, it was Sanders. The last few weeks, it's been Beasley with volume. Then Beasley got hurt and is playing through that right now. Knox was hurt. It's tough right now, but I still would go Knox over Ertz, especially with Colt McCoy if he is in there.
Yeah,
100% Ertz for me.
You're going Ertz?
Mm-hmm.
Explain.
Hopkins is still out. They're going against Seattle. Like, even if Adams and whatever, their cover for tight ends is going to be solid. I just have no idea what Knox even does or doesn't do. His just targets are just low. I mean, he's Robert Tonyan, like you were hoping for last year. You're hoping for a touchdown, and that's it. I would much rather have Ertz, who I think is more integrated into the offense.
Yeah, I mean, that is fair. I do still like Knox just because that Buffalo offense is still, while it's still kind of finding its way, it's closer to that than the Cardinals with a backup quarterback, with all these injured pieces that are still kind of finding their way too. Though I think Ertz probably has a better volume day. I think Knox gets a touchdown here. It's against Indianapolis, who they have a tougher D, but I still like that matchup against any of their safeties, any of their linebackers. They're kind of smaller anyway, so that's going to be an option for Knox to be able to kind of box those guys out. And if you want to play the roommate narrative, we're all about narratives here. Play the Josh Allen roommate narrative.
I love it. How many narratives are we going to trot out today?
Well, we've got a few. We've got a few minutes. We can get a couple more in.
Numbers are for suckers.
Apparently, our own podcast is asking for.
That's me. I didn't want to jump the gun on anyone else's question, so I thought I would just slide it in there so I picked up Huntley in SFB 11. I was asking you guys about this before. Simeon Wentz or Heineke is my QB2, and then I picked up Huntley. I want to play Huntley. I think it's SFB. Like the incompletions will be rough, but I think he's going to do enough on the ground. Am I crazy?
I'm so against starting bad quarterbacks in SFB because of the scoring. You have such a realistic just chance of getting negative points for everything. Even if they do kind of salvage it with running, if they are trying to throw, and they're all incomplete, I mean, that adds up. And I'm of the opinion that you just don't play anybody in the quarterback 2 spot, or don't play a quarterback in that spot. You just play somebody else. It's not.
Yeah, enough. I mean, it's Evan Ingram, or I literally everybody else is out or something. So to me, it's Simeon versus a bad Eagles pass defense, or it's Huntley against a mediocre one. But at least he has his legs to rely on.
I kind of want to go Simeon. I'm going to stick with that.
Okay. Kev?
Damn, you guys are brutal. For the quarterback 4 in the last 4 weeks, Carson Wentz.
But he's only
it's against Buffalo, but
yeah, and he pissed me off last week. I'm not trusting Wentz. He lost me a matchup last week because he was supposed to be good, and lost me a bunch of DFS values. So not going.
I get it. Bad Carson is bad Carson, but I still think I would take him, especially with Scott Fishbowl scoring and completions. I think he has the best chance of not. I think he has the most upside, granted, in a Buffalo matchup, and I don't think he. I'm going to say this now, knock on wood. I don't think he gets you a 0 or negative, though he could. But all these quarterbacks can.
Yeah, they all can because they're all tough matchups and not great.
Yeah, not great, Bob.
All right. Moving on.
We'll get to these questions here. Emmanuel Sanders, Chase Claypool, Marvin Jones for wide receiver 3 in standard. Claypool was week to week, but he's gonna trot out there. He ran full practices this week at the end, so
yeah.
I just don't know about Claypool. I just don't know about Pittsburgh. I guess the Chargers, who have a tough pass defense. Give me Marvin Jones. I'm gonna throw that one out there.
But they got Ben back, right? So that's something.
Who throws a ball like he throws a pound of sugar?
That's the joke. That's the joke.
That's what we did that one. That's the joke. Damn it, Kevin, you're not awake.
But yeah, the volume's going to be there for Claypool, but just that the short A-dot passes from Ben are frustrating. Oof. Gary, I'm deferring to you. I'm still deciding.
Manny Sanders. Happily choosing him. I feel like they're all pretty much equal, so I default to Josh Allen.
Fair.
Okay. I can get on board with that.
For my team's sake, I hope Emmanuel Sanders does something today. But yeah, like I said, I went on a 5-minute soliloquy about Marvin Jones, and we'll leave that in the archives. But I think I'd roll the dice on him today. They're all about even, but I could totally see Chase Claypool get like 8 targets, 5 catches for like 17 yards.
Niners D-line is looking pretty good right now, so I'm nervous about what the time to release is going to be for Trevor Lawrence, even if he can use his legs some. So I to me, Claypool is not the option. It's Sanders or Marvin Jones.
Yep.
Fair. Justin Fields or Carson Wentz for QB2?
I love Fields. I love his rushing upside. And he seemed to kind of get a feel more for this offense. He's got a feel for more of the pros. He's figuring it out. And he'll get you points on the ground.
I'm so curious if Allen Robinson has played his last snap as a Bear. He's out. It's a hamstring, so whatever. But he just... I actually think subtraction by addition, or whatever the word is, addition by subtraction, that Fields may end up actually being better with Kmet and with Mooney. I know maybe that's silly to say. So I'm going to go with Fields just because the Buffalo matchup scares me, despite the fact that Wentz is better. But what happens when you take Pittman out with Trey White and then you're left with like 3 tight ends and Hilton and Pascal?
Yeah, give me Justin Fields here. You got to fire up your Moondog, your Darnell Mooney. You got to fire up your Cole Kmets today. Nobody else is really firing up on the passing game, but for weeks and weeks now with Justin Fields, it's been Robinson, Kmet, and Mooney running like just elite-ish, routes and snaps and everything like that. So with one down, I think Mooney's going to run close to 100% of the routes. Kmet's probably going to be close to that too, at least above 80%. I think Justin Fields against Baltimore, who they're not the Baltimore defense that you thought, that you've typically thought they were. So, and they're at home. They're a home dog. That's kind of wild to say, but I think Justin, we have yet to see the best of Justin Fields in 2021. I think you're going to get a good game out of him, at least a top 12 usable game out of Justin Fields this week.
Watch Jesper Horsted.
15. I want to see Justin Fields finish top 15 because that was Kevin's preseason call, and it looked so bad for a while. And now it looks like it could happen.
I think it will. But
I hope so.
Watch Jesper Horsted get the touchdown over Komet. I'm calling it right now.
Wow, the disrespect to Jesse James and James Graham. He's not Jimmy. He's got to earn that. Axel, by the way, I know you're watching. There's no Hiram Lalaraju questions for your kickers, and I don't even know how the hell to say that guy's name, by the way. I know he's not active, but we were waiting for kicker questions and did not get them. So not gonna lie, kind of what's going on, buddy?
I mean, I feel like we're ending on a low note. Thanks, Axel.
Sorry.
I'm good. I really need to go to the bathroom. I have to pee really badly. So,
well, on that note, I mean, we went from a low note to a high note here. So, we'll get you out of here, Gary. Jeez. I'm kidding. No, it's all good. All right. Well, find us on Twitter at KTompkins, at Haddow27, at Britt_Flinn. If you have more start sit questions, ask us on there. Axel, it's okay. But congrats on the new job, my friend. Get that money, get that paper, as kids say. But yes, if you have questions, find us on there. We will answer them all the way up until kickoff. And then if you have questions for the late window, also send them over to us there. Other than that, anything else before we hop off here?
Nope. Just go Cowboys and go pee, Gary.
I will.
Go Cowboys and go pee. All right. Well, on that note, we will see you next week. And we'll see you on Wednesday, hopefully, for Lightning Round. See you guys later.